you, Rachel. Well, greetings and welcome to those of you who are here in person and those joining us online. I'm Peggy Henriksen, and I'll be your service leader for this third Sunday of August. Our theme for this month is the mystery of life. No small topic that, huh? Last week, Reverend Toni addressed the problem not knowing who we are, and today she presents the prescription, remembering who we are. So today's opening prayer is courtesy of Reverend Toni. So please put your cell phones on silent, your minds on quiet, your hearts on open, and let's move into prayer mode. We come into this moment with an open heart, not to become something new, but to remember what has always been true, that we are not our worries, our roles, or our stories. We are radiant reflections of wholeness and delight. As we gather this morning, we release the need to strive, to fix, to earn, and instead return to the stillness within, where we are already whole, already free, already home. We see ourselves and one another not through the eyes of judgment or fear, but through the eyes of love, the eyes of grace, the eyes of remembrance. We awaken today to the truth that we are consciousness itself, witnessing, embracing, creating, becoming. Let this service be a sacred doorway into greater presence, deeper peace, and joyful reunion with the self we have never lost. And so we begin with open hearts, clear minds, and the quiet courage to simply be. Amen. Well, that was beautiful. Oh, okay, now let's welcome back Rachel Holder as our music angel. Yay. Thanks for being here. Okay, now I invite everyone to join Rachel, standing if it's comfortable for you, as she leads us in our opening song, Yes, I Am.
Yes, I am here to love. Yes, I am here to serve. Yes, I am here to be the love of God. Yes, I am here to love. Yes, I am here to serve. Yes, I am here to be the love of God, my God. And I know forevermore that I am loved. Yes, I know forevermore that I am loved. Yes, I am here to learn. Yes, I am here to live. Yes, I am here to be the love of God. Yes, I am here to learn. Yes, I am here to live. Yes, I am here to be the love of God, my God. And I know forevermore that I am loved. Yes, I know forevermore that I am loved. Yes, I am here to love. Yes, I am here to serve.
Thank you. Good song. Before we go further, we'd like to welcome anyone who's with us for the first time, either in the sanctuary here or online. So please join me with this special blessing. We offer you peace, love, and friendship. We bless you, and we're glad you're here. Yay. Now Lynn will ring the Tibetan bells and read the daily word.
We now move deeper into spirit with the reading of the daily word. The word for today, Sunday, August 17th, 2025, is prosperity. My prosperity is unlimited. I claim my good now. After King Darius hauled an unbitten Daniel from the lion's den, the king wrote to other nations to praise the divine power that delivered this Hebrew prophet by taming hungry beasts. Overcome by divine goodness, Darius prayed for abundant prosperity among the people of the ancient world. Today, the lions I face may be rising prices when shopping and greater costs for basic needs. Even in that den of apparent lack, my prosperity is unlimited. In prayer, I claim my good, grateful to live in an abundant universe. I pray that cooperative interaction with others who are seeking their own prosperity brings an end to poverty and establishes world peace. I claim prosperity for myself and all others. The Bible verse from today is from Daniel 6:25. Then King Darius wrote to all peoples and nations of every language throughout the whole world. May you have abundant prosperity. Again, the word for today is prosperity. Now let us bring our attention to the prayer box. I invite you to silently add your own name and the names of anyone in your heart or on your mind who may need prayer support. We know that the truth behind all appearance of disharmony is the divine and perfect presence of God. We call forth within all people the wisdom and strength, the love and peace, the wholeness and vitality of this presence. We declare that divine healing power and wisdom is restoring, healing, and harmonizing our world and guiding our leaders for the highest good of all in this very moment. We bless our global family and hold us all in the light of love and peace. We affirm that the requests in our prayer box and in our hearts and on our minds are being resolved in divine timing for the highest good of all concerned. May the love of God enfold us. May the peace of God uphold us. May the wisdom of God inspire us and help us to know in our hearts that all is well. And so it is. Now please join me in our affirmation for the day. Together. My life is an expression of inner happiness, and I feel a sense of connection to the creative power of the universe. And our affirmation for our beautiful spiritual center. Together. We give thanks that Unity of the Valley is a prosperous, thriving, inspired, connected community. We are growing spiritually and manifesting our dreams and goals in an energy of love, peace, and joy.
I am the heart, I am the hands, I am the voice of spirit on earth, and who I am, and all I do is a blessing to the world. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. We are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of spirit on earth, and who we are, and all we do is a blessing to the world.
We are a blessing to the world. Join me now as we take this time to step into the stillness, into the quiet, into the center that is divine, that is the oneness of all things. Take a deep breath. And as you breathe it in, breathe in the wonder. And as you release, let go. Let go of whatever might be draining you today for a moment, just a moment maybe. Let it go. And with the next breath, fill that empty space with a sense of oneness and love. And with the next breath, affirm that that oneness, that pure consciousness is self, is the true self. Feel the love as it surrounds the pain, the grief, the worry, and as it begins to morph that grief, that worry, that pain into a lightness, a sense of wholeness. Allow that feeling, that energy to move through you. Every cell of your body feels that oneness, that wholeness. And it is in that strength, that knowing, that we can then move through the pain and the grief and the worry. Take another breath. And as you breathe, feel that shift from head to heart, from outer to inner. From doubt to faith, to love. Another breath. And as you let it go, sigh it out and then move into that silence. And let us rest there for a few moments. Sheltered, loved, strengthened, and aware. And with the next breath, let us return to here and now, to this awareness, knowing without doubt that divine light shines from within me to the world. So it is.
It's everything I am and what I'm not and all I'm trying to be. This is the part where I spit it all out and you decide what you think of me. I'm not trying to be complicated. I'm never waiting to get the last laugh. But I've been handing out benefits of the doubt. I'd like a little bit back. It's just a little voice, and if you're listening, sometimes a little voice can say the biggest things. It's just my little voice that I've been missing. Looking over the precious moments, it hurts, don't it? They can cut both ways. No amount of remembering the better things will make the bad ones go away. But I've been broken and the one to blame. So my savior of self-defense taught me to sing what I can't say. It's just a little voice, and if you're listening, sometimes a little voice can say the biggest things. It's just my little voice that I've been missing. I will be loud, I'm coming out to tell you words are not enough. I will be loud, I'm coming out to tell you noise is not enough. I will be loud, I'm coming out to tell you words are not enough. I will be loud, I'm coming out to tell you noise is not enough. It's the reason you whisper you love her alone. We've been handed the mountain tops to sing from, and we still don't. Oh, sometimes a little voice can say the biggest things. It's just my little voice that I've been missing. It's just my little voice that I've been missing. It's just my little voice that I've been missing.
Don't you just love her? Yeah. It's fascinating to me because she and I, this time around, because she's a busy lady, did not have a chance to talk before this. So this morning I'm walking in and we were chatting, and she said, "So how are you taking it? Where are you going with it?" And I gave her a brief, because I said, "So what are you doing this morning?" And she said, "Well, I have options." And she said, "How are you taking this?" So I gave her some ideas about the direction that I wanted this to go. She's good. Thank you, Rachel, as always. So last week, we started with part 1 of the problem. And the problem being, we don't know who we are. We as one person, we as a collective, not knowing who we are and what that means for us. And we decided, well, let me rephrase that. What I brought to the conversation was that what we are is pure consciousness. Now this is, again, coming out of Deepak Chopra's book on power, freedom, power, and grace, or power, grace, and freedom, what the order. But that I am pure consciousness. I'm not this body, okay? I'm not even my thoughts or my feelings, just. I am pure consciousness. I must tell you that still, even after having gone through and read and reread and revisited, I still have some struggles with trying to picture that, trying to get my head around what that means to say that the me that I think I am is actually just pure consciousness. I still like the analogy of I'm the drop of water in the ocean. That helps me a lot. But even that, I think, doesn't quite grasp that. I'm pure consciousness, and from that element, that spot in divine mind, which is Unity's way of pure consciousness. All that is consciousness. And science is beginning to tell us that the foundation of the universe is not matter. It is, in fact, probably consciousness. That from that space that has my name on it or has my imprint on it, let's put it that way, my imprint on it, from there is generated the thoughts, the feelings, the projections into this world. And then I put on the masks once in that environment. It reminded me, it still does, it reminds me of how many of Star Trek fans do I have in here? You remember the holodeck? There are times when I think we're living in a holodeck, you know? And you can just change the knob and the frequency and you get a whole new scenario. Theoretically, that's possible, they tell us. Change your vibration. Raise your vibration, and you're going to see a whole different scenario. Interesting? So we talked about that. And we talked about knowing that gives us a freedom and a power to not get stuck in the holodeck, but to recognize that there is something greater than that. Whatever you call it. I grew up calling it God. I will probably struggle calling it God for the rest of my life because when I was growing up, that God had an image that doesn't work for me now. But I can't find a better word that I like, so I continue to use that term. And when we can remember it, things seem to flow better. At least for me it does. It seems to flow better when I can remember that. So the part 2 that Deepak goes into is, okay, we've gotten the problem. Now what's the prescription for helping us remember that on an ongoing basis? And what is it that stops us from remembering that on an ongoing basis? He has 4 questions. We're going to cover 3 out of them today because the 4th one I want to take next week. But the 3 questions, one is, where do I go when I die? We're going to save that one for last. What is the key to everlasting happiness, and how can I live with effortless ease? Okay, so let's look at what is the key to everlasting happiness. Of course, what I find fascinating is when he asked that question, and I'm expecting him to then tell me what are the good things to help me get to everlasting happiness. But what he does is he starts with, here are the things that get in the way. First, let's look at what gets in the way. And what do you think the very first thing he says is that gets in the way? Huh? Ego. God love it, ego. You know, the acronym, the edging God out. How often have you heard that? Edging God out. Haven't heard that one? Okay, ego, edging God out. I want to present something to you that's a little different about ego. This one comes from Charles Fillmore. Those of you who don't know who he is, from Charles Fillmore. And this is how Charles defines the ego. Okay? The ego is the I, that is letter I, the I. The ego is, he calls it man, humans, humanity, the man, not, you know what I'm talking about. For him, that was a generic. Okay. And by reason of his divinity, he makes and remakes as he wills. Okay. Then he goes on to say, the ego of itself is possessed of nothing. It is a mere ignorant child of innocence floating in the mind of being. It is a tool to be used. It's a different perspective on the ego. He then talks about there is the spiritual and the adverse ego. Now, Charles grew up in a world that was very much just dual in its nature. There were either ors. For me personally, what I can see in this is that this ego, this I that I am, is a tool for me to use in this dimension to move along a spectrum from material to spiritual. There are times when I need to be in a more material setting that my mind needs to be focused. Now, I don't know, what is the current version of a saber-toothed tiger? Because every time people talk about the ego, they talk about, well, you know, it was put there, that whole process there, the ego is so it can recognize and react and use the other stuff to run away from the saber-toothed tiger. Yeah, so, you know, it was there. But what is it? What is the equivalent of that today? Online bullies. Okay, we got an answer, online bullies. There are equivalents. It's not a saber-toothed tiger anymore, okay? But there are equivalents. And so, when that occurs, I think I'm losing my mic a little bit. When that occurs, I need to be able to rationally process at some level from a place that's not, we love to call it woo-woo, but I need to react. And the ego, using the other 12 powers, folks, some discernment, some judgment, some will, creates an action. Now, if I get stuck over there and I'm constantly looking at the outside world, the material world, without stepping back in and having the faith of that spiritual side of the spectrum that says, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. There is something that is going to be occurring out of this that I will find useful, that I will grow from. Okay? But I slide on that. The key is not to get stuck over here. Interesting here. What's that? What is this? My left hand? What do we associate with left versus right? Left-handedness was not good. Right-handedness was good. Anyway, I digress. It just popped into my head as I was doing that. But the idea here is that for me to get stuck in that is where I stop seeing myself as that pure consciousness. And I see myself only as this very limited being here, without a connection to that higher self. So the shifting on this line is also about shifting my vibration. So the ego itself, if stuck in that negative space, in that seeing everything dangerous and scary and bad and against me and not supporting me, if I get stuck there, then the ego has got a problem. But it's not the tool, the ego. It is how it's being used. Slide the ego. How do we do that? Well, we're going to talk a little bit more about that next week, but how do we move that ego? We do it through prayer. We do it through stillness. We do it through shifting thoughts. We can move that tool, the I that I am, into something that sees a different world. It sees it differently because the vibration is different, and I'm different. So rather than beat up on the poor ego all the time, I think it's helpful for us to see that as a tool to be used and bring discernment and wisdom and then a will to act, to move the ego, to move, allow the ego to move us into a space that's at a higher level of vibration, perhaps. Now, I also talked about in there this idea of external and internal. Another thing, and so building on that, is something that Chopra talks about, self-referred and object-referred. Everlasting happiness. Where does happiness come from? Emotions, thoughts, about what? Happiness is an inside job, folks. It doesn't mean that it doesn't recognize, that I don't recognize grief and sorrow and pain and doubt and all of those scared and things. But what's going to continue to keep me in a space of happy, and the happy is not laughing and joking, just, ha 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 ha. Happy is a sense of peace. Happiness is that sense of knowing that I'm okay. In some level, I'm okay. And that in some way, I will find in this world, I can maintain that sense of peace and calm. It's not outside. You can't make me happy. You can do some great things. You can support, you can be here, but you can't make me happy. Because I can find all kinds of ways to screw that up. Okay? Object referred does not bring us happiness. Self-referred is what allows us peace. How do I see the situation? What is my reaction to the situation? And what do I expect to make me happy? If I expect something, or would I love a raise? Well, I'm okay, guys. I'm okay. All right, hear me. This is just a hyperbole kind of thing, an example. If I wanted a raise, the raise is going to make me happy. Because I'll have more money to spend to pay off this debt or to buy that thing. No, probably not. In the short term, maybe. But then the next thing you know, something else is niggling at me. Outside doesn't mean. On the trip from Chautauqua home, I listened to Viktor Frankl's book. And if you have not read that, or it's on Audible, it's not that long a read, or listen. Listening to that and hearing what he went through and how he managed to maintain his humanity through it all was because he went inside and said, I am who I am, and I have the choice of not taking on the stuff outside. It didn't mean that he wasn't in pain about it. It didn't mean that he didn't have caring about what was going on around him. But what he said was, if I let that define me, then I am lost. So this idea of what's going to make us happy has to do with what we hold inside. Self-referred, not object-referred. The other thing that he talked about, which I found challenging and amusing and all of those other things, is positive mind, negative mind. And he starts out with, nobody wants to be around somebody who is constantly negative. Just everything, negative this, negative that. The world's going to hell in the handbasket. I can't get what I couldn't do that. This guy, stabbed me in the back. Blah, 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 blah. The bully was there, okay? Negative mind. Nobody wants to be around that. We know that in unity, don't we? And so what do we say? What do we say? See, what do we want to be? And what we see is, let's find the positive. Find the positive in this. See the good in this. And then he followed up with, which I found fascinating, nobody, now these are his words, not mine, nobody can be positive 100% of the time in this dimension. And to not acknowledge in the moment that there is a pain or a doubt or a worry or an anger, to just not acknowledge it. No, I want to be positive about this. We call that spiritual bypass. It's not that we don't want to move to that, but you skipped over the other stuff. And the other stuff is real in this dimension. The pain is real. The scared is real. The grief is real in this dimension. What we don't want to do is get stuck in it. Yet again, getting stuck in something. Because in everything, every event, every kind of situation, I can feel it and then begin to move through it. What is it? What else comes out of that? What else can I perceive out of that? What did it trigger in me that I need to look at, that I need to work on, that I need to let go of? The positive framework. And he tells a story of a patient of his who had some health challenges, and she would come in and he would ask, "Well, how are you doing?" I'm fine. "How you doing, honey? Have you had any pain?" "I'm fine." And he finally said, "Really?" And she said, "Well, I don't want to go into any negative thoughts. It might bring me down." Ignoring the pain creates other issues. And one thought of, this week it was really painful. Guys, it really was difficult for me this week. Doesn't change the whole approach to life to a negative one. What it does is it recognizes in the moment that there was some pain. My overall attitude to life is to say, that's painful. I need to figure out what that's about and how I can work with it or through it or change my approach along that spectrum to see it a little differently. Maybe get some medical help to see what's causing it. It might be an organic thing that we can work with, but it doesn't make me a negative Nelly to hold a negative thought about a pain or something that's not positive. And when I can make the shift to see it in a positive light, I have increased the level of my vibration to the point where I can now be more at peace with what's going on. That one, he then what he goes to there is this dynamic of positive and negative. He said where he would recommend us moving is to the silent mind. Now, I have a little trouble with silent. I don't want to be quiet. I mean, really? But what he means, what I think he means, and I'm projecting into his writing what I think he means. We need to be careful about that. But he does go on and explain that what he's saying is we're storytellers, we humans. And we like to put labels on things and tell stories about what's going on when we don't fully understand it. And what we do then is when something happens based upon our perceptions of the world and the issues that we've had and the memories that we've got stored, we put a label on it. It was either good or bad. It was for me or against me. It was scary or not. And it happens so fast, we don't even recognize most of the time we're doing it. Because that's how we make sense of things, is we put a label on it. I can remember when I was in, I don't know whether I've told this story, and if I have, forgive me and just listen to it one more time. It seems relevant. When I was in therapy a very long time ago, in probably the first year maybe of my therapy, it was about 5 years worth. But in that first year, my therapist, Pat, would say, so how did you feel about that? We'd be talking about something that occurred, and she'd say, well, how do you feel about that? And I'd just sit there, facing a gray wall with nothing. And I say, I don't know. And she'd say, well, if you did know, I came to hate that phrase. And I also have come to use it often. But she would say, well, if you did know. And at first, I don't know, and I'd get all upset, and, she'd say, okay. At some point in that first year, and I don't even remember where or how, but it dawned on me that I had no vocabulary for feelings. I had no vocabulary for it, because you see, at our house, when I was growing up, you could laugh, but you couldn't cry. And you couldn't get angry, and you couldn't have all these other things going on. You couldn't get scared. You couldn't be anxious. You couldn't feel like blah, blah, blah. And so because you couldn't, nobody ever said, God, you must be feeling a little scared on that one. Or, wow, are you worried? Yeah, you concerned? Or, wow, are you angry? There was never a vocabulary associated with the vibration that was going through me at the time. And so when I finally told Pat, I said, I don't have a vocabulary for this. And she said, I wondered how long it was going to take you to realize that. I said, you could have told me that a year ago. And she said, no, I couldn't have. You need to come to it yourself. So what I then had to spend a lot of my life doing is putting labels on feelings. And sometimes I'm good at it, and sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I am. But the idea here is that when we start looking at all of this, when we're in an environment, our minds are active, and are we in the positive or the negative? Or should we move past that and just see the action without attempting to put a label on it? That's a very hard thing for me to do. I don't know about you guys. But it's hard for me to see it and not immediately put a label on it. His recommendation is to get a quiet mind. He calls it a silent mind. Non-judgment, no labels, no stories about what was just done. Rather, ask some questions. Tell me more about that. Or, wow, I'm perceiving that there is. Am I right? Or maybe I don't even say, am I right? Here's my perception. Can you help me? No labels, no judgments. To get through to an understanding of what has happened from both of us. When we can do that, according to Chopra, and I believe this to be the case, when we can be in that space, there is a sense of calm. There is a sense of peace around what the world looks like in that moment. So you don't not have a positive and negative, but you do have this next step, this taking it up into a higher vibration without the stories and without the labels, because those are generated from inside me and they're mine. They're my projections on what's going on outside. And that may not be what happens at all, but that's how I projected it. The other thing that, and the answer to how about living through effortless ease, desire, honoring desire, and trusting the flow of divine wisdom. However you want to call that. Trusting that God is in charge is another way of being said. The universe has a flow. The other word, the other definition that I also was interested in was for Charles, desire. Now, I don't know about you, but there often desire has a less than positive nuance to it. Desire, you know, if you think about it, just to say the word. But here, desire is an expression of the inmost being of man, an onward impulse of the ever-evolving individual. It springs from deep within being, and it has enduring power. Deep desire is essential to spiritual growth. Desire is that power within us to go deeper, to see more, to have more. And it can be anywhere on that spectrum, from the material desires to have to the spiritual desires to be. Without desire, nothing comes. I don't have any desires right now. Okay, really? Probably not true. Probably not true.
Yes, you do.
Well, that's why I said it's probably not true.
You have a desire to make us a bigger and better church.
Thank you very much. And I won't buy that one. I will own that one. But it's and what Sharon said, for those of you who are there, that my desire is to help Unity of the Valley grow to be a bigger and better. And I buy that. I own that. Okay? And that desire is not about having and doing so much as being also. You be it and it comes. You be it and it's attracting. But the idea here is in how do we remember who we are? We use the tools we have. We have been given an ego, a tool to help us identify ourselves along a spectrum. We have thoughts. We've been given that ability to create a thought, a notion and then a thought. And those thoughts then manifest. We have emotions. We also have will, judgment, discernment, faith, love, all of the 12 powers. And when we use them, will is our executive branch. It is the thing that helps us make the decision. It directs the ego. Where do we go when we die was the last one. And yes, Peggy, we will probably go over just a little bit today too. Well, interestingly enough, you don't go anywhere, according to Chopra. Because who am I? Who am I? Pure consciousness. What does go away is the body that I've used during my time in this journey. And that body, people, when it goes, it goes. But I'm still there. I'm still there. I came from there. I'll go back there. When people talk about after death or after near-death experiences, his take is what they're doing is raising their vibration to a point where they're at that level, okay? And they no longer need the body, but they can come back. My mom wasn't gone, but she was pretty close. And she came to visit me in the bathroom in Baltimore 3 days before she was going to pass. Said, I'm going to be leaving this weekend. I heard her just as clearly as I can hear myself now. I'm leaving. I'll be gone this weekend. I wanted to come and tell you how much I loved you. That wasn't her body that did that. That was that essence that did that. So where do we go when we die? Right back where we were, where it came from. And we didn't go anywhere. The body did. The body did. I did a memorial service yesterday. Shelley Leahy's mother had passed. And she asked me, I was honored to do the service for her, the celebration for her yesterday. And I finished that service with a reading, and I want to finish today with this reading. It was written by, or it was presented by Rabbi Alvin Fine. I believe it's in the Jewish Gates of Redemption, I think it is. It's a beautiful reading about life. He uses a word that might feel uncomfortable for us as Unity people for a bit, but I'd ask you to hold it. He used the term destination. Just hold that as we go through it. But for me, it describes this life that we are living right now. And it's this. Birth is a beginning, and death a destination, and life is a journey, a going, a growing from stage to stage, from childhood to maturity, and youth to age, from innocence to awareness, and ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to discretion, and then perhaps to wisdom, from weakness to strength, or strength to weakness, and often back again. From health to sickness, and back, we pray, to health again. From offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion, from grief to understanding, from fear to faith, from defeat to defeat to defeat, until looking backward or ahead, we see that victory lies not as some high place along the way, but in having made the journey, stage by stage, a sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning, and death a destination, and life is a journey, a sacred pilgrimage made stage by stage. And we are pure consciousness, spiritual beings having a human experience, a sacred pilgrimage.
Open up my eyes to daylight in my new city, where may too far away from where I started. Open up my heart and break her. No gentle waters, no anchor. I'm barely brave enough to keep breathing, but I believe in love, and there is enough. So ask for more to fill you up. Nobody's keeping score. Do you know what you fight for? What you fight for? I want more in the dead of the dark. The hard times are broken branches and lifelines. Remember, it's all a game, a grand design that you can't tame. Open up your eyes and cry now. Mourn your child, your innocence, and turn around to face this playground and come with there is enough. So ask for more to fill you up. Nobody's keeping score. Do you know what you fight for? What you fight for? I want more love. There is enough. So ask for more to fill you up. Nobody's keeping score. Do you know what you fight for? What you fight for? I want more of me, more of you, more wandering into night skies for the sunrise side view, more deep breaths, more exhales, more winding off the road for my story to tell, my story to tell, my story to tell. 'Cause there is enough. So ask for more to fill you up. Nobody's keeping score. Do you know what you fight for? What you fight for? I want more love. I want more love. Oh, open up my eyes to daylight. Oh, 'cause I believe in love.
Thank you, Rachel, and thank you, Reverend Toni. We're going to move right along here. We now have the opportunity to give our love offering from our hearts, and we invite you to give in full awareness that the act of giving is an opportunity to develop and demonstrate greater trust in God as the ultimate source of all good. So please join me in our love offering affirmation. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I give, all that I receive, and all that I am. And our offertory song is Guiding Light.
Well, the road is wide and waters run on either side, and my shadow in the fading light is stretching out towards the night, 'cause the sun is low and I I hear there's still so far to go, and my lonely heart is beating slow. Tired of the wandering, and there's a sign ahead, though I think it's the same one again. But I'm thinking of my only friend, so I find my way home. You can join me on this part. 'Cause when I need to get home, you're my guiding light. You're my guiding light. When I need to get home, you're my guiding light. You're my guiding light. Sing that again. 'Cause when I need to get home, you're my guiding light. You're my guiding light. When I need to get home, you're my guiding light. You're my guiding light.
Thank you. Beautiful. Okay. Now, together as a community, let's bless this offering and good of any kind that has come so generously to support Unity of the Valley this week. Thank you, God, for providing all the resources we need to accomplish our mission of transforming lives. We dedicate these gifts to your service and to the blessing of our larger community through all we do here at Unity of the Valley. Amen. Thanks, John. Okay, we have an exciting variety of events coming up in September. I'm just going to list to the ones that aren't regular, and please see your bulletin and weekly buzz. If you don't get the weekly buzz and would like to, you can sign up out there in the hallway. And also your bulletin has the announcements, the details. Just let me kind of go through them quickly here. Unity of the Valley has applied for a booth at the Burnsville Fire Muster Festival, Friday and Saturday, September 5 and 6. And if you'll excuse me, I have a little story that just relates to that, because Grandpa Joe was out with his grandkids one day when a fire truck zoomed past with a Dalmatian in the front seat. So the kids were all excited, and one said, "They use that dog to keep crowds back." "No," said another, "he's just for good luck." A third child brought the argument to a close. "They use the dog," she stated firmly, "to find the fire hydrants." So now you know. So please see Reverend Toni if you want to help out with our booth at the Fire Muster. And each Wednesday in September in the evening, 7 to 8:30, I'm offering a 4-part class titled How to Use Prayer Power for Yourself and Others. So if you'd like to join in and become a prayer ninja, please register by August 31st, so we know how many people will be there. And you can register on our website, or Dana, our wonderful admin, put a QR code on the sign-up sheet out in the hall, and she emailed me and she says, she said, "I'm sure you all love QR codes because they make you feel hip and youthful." So I responded that, yeah, I definitely needed that. Thank you. We like to tease each other. Okay, next, another 4-session event is the Power of Awe, which takes place on one Sunday and 4 Saturdays. So please register for that as well on our website or in the hall. And these experiences that are offered at no cost except for the fees to join in a couple of the sites that are planned. In addition to these powerful events, we can look forward to our Candlelight Unity Day of Prayer Healing Service on Thursday, September 11th at 7. No registration for this. Just come. Come and get a free one-on-one healing and a beautiful, peaceful experience. So finally, on Saturday, September 13th, Unity has applied for a booth at Burnsville Pride. And again, please see Reverend Toni if you can help out with that. So as you can see, September is full of meaningful events and experiences, opportunities to volunteer. So please check your Bulletin Buzzin' website for details. And if you'd like today, one-on-one prayer after the service, Prayer Chaplain Lynn Beckdahl would be happy to pray with you over by our prayer angel in that corner. So now if you're comfortable standing, please do so for our prayer for protection, which is up here on the monitor. The light of God surrounds us. We are that light. The love of God enfolds us. We are that love. The power of God protects us. We are that power. The presence of God watches over us. We are that presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And now let's reaffirm our affirmation for the day. My life is an expression of inner happiness, and I feel a sense of connection to the creative power of the universe. Okay, now let's join in our peace song with Rachel.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as our creator. Family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Everyone is welcome to join for coffee, tea, and cookies in the fellowship hall.